I just took a cruise on Princess Cruises' brand new cruise ship, the Star Princess. And this is the good, bad, and ugly.
JJ Cruise.
Hey everyone, what's up? This is Jordan with JJ Cruise. Thank you so much for clicking into the video today. Well, I know that I am alone for this review, and that's because I did take this cruise without Jared. So today I'm going to be giving you my honest thoughts on everything Star Princess, Princess Cruises' brand new and largest cruise ship. Before I get into it, I do want to invite you to subscribe to the channel. We are on the road to 100,000 subscribers. If you want to be a part of the first 100,000 JJ crew, please hit that subscribe button, and while you're down there, don't forget to hit the thumbs up. I was on board Star Princess's inaugural voyage for North America. I stayed on board the ship for a total of 4 nights and got to experience so many wonderful things about this brand new ship. While there was a few things that maybe were not so good, I'm going to talk all things good, bad, and ugly about the Star Princess today in this review. I'm going to give you things like cruise tips, important information that you must know before boarding, and I'm going to answer your questions, like who is the Star Princess for? Ultimately, I will give you my opinion on if I would return back again to the Star Princess, and you're going to want to stay until the end to see exactly what my ugly was, because I can say this right now, it was so frustrating to so many people on board, but if you are prepared, you will not experience it. Ultimately, I want to give you the proper expectations before you ever go on board this brand new cruise ship. Let's start by talking about the good, and I want to start in the stateroom. Now, for my voyage, I did stay in a deluxe balcony room, and there are more deluxe balconies on board than there are any other stateroom category. So there's a high chance this is the type of room you will stay in as well. My stateroom was located in the far forward of the ship, and I have to say I loved my stateroom. It was spacious, it felt well laid out, there was plenty of storage, but there was a couple of things I want to mention that made my good list that I think made this room exceptional. The first is the bed. If you've sailed with Princess before, you know that the beds are some of the most comfortable beds at sea. I actually found out some insider information here because I always went back and forth as to who had the better bed on cruise ships, whether it was Princess or Disney. Well, I was pleasantly surprised to find out that the same company makes both beds, which makes complete sense. I always get the best night of sleep when I'm sleeping in a princess bed or a bed aboard a Disney cruise ship. Now, for some, I know the bathroom seems maybe a little small. For me, I thought the bathroom was just fine. Something that I loved, though, in the bathroom was that it had a nice glass shower door. There are older princess ships that still have shower curtains, so I loved to see this upgrade, and honestly, in general, I thought the bathroom was great. I also loved the balcony. My balcony was completely covered, so in the chance of inclement weather, you could still be out on your balcony catching some ocean breeze. But there was one thing in particular that I loved about this room, and that was the outlets. They not only had US plugs and USB plugs, but they also had USB-C plugs. So it didn't matter what type of device you had or what type of charger you had, you were covered in these rooms if you are sailing in North America. Amidst a lot of cuts within the cruise industry, cruise lines are typically now only servicing staterooms once a day. Well, I'm really happy to report back that I still had twice a day service in the morning and turn-down service at night. And my stateroom attendant was exceptional. Moving out into the rest of the ship, if you've been on a Sphere class ship, you know that these ships are beautiful. The ships feel new and look new, and something that is absolutely beautiful about the Sphere class is the amount of glass all around the ship. They have incorporated glass so that you have beautiful ocean views on every single deck, no matter where you are. The ship is heading to Alaska next year, and I have to say I'm so excited for those that are traveling to Alaska on board the Star Princess, because I think that you're going to get the most exceptional views of Alaska no matter where you are on board the ship. The dome is another area that offers breathtaking views, and there's so many places that are close to the water, like the Wakeview Terrace, that truly is one of my favorite spots on board the ship. Another new venue that they put on board that I think is great is a non-smoking casino. Similar to a competitor out there in the industry that only has non-smoking casinos, I think Princess is starting to listen to some of its clientele that would like to gamble without having to get smoky clothes or be breathing in smoke from the person next to you. The non-smoking casino is small. However, I think that it is great that they have put one on board. And I think that this is very important because I think there's a lot of people that want this. Next, I want to move into the food because the food was actually some of my favorite parts of being on board this ship. I actually did not have a bad meal while on board. Everything I ate was great. While on board, I was able to try the main dining room, the buffet, and several specialty restaurants, and I did not have a bad meal. Where the buffet and the main dining room were good, the specialty dining was great, and it's definitely something I think you should consider if going on board the Star Princess. I tried Butcher Block, which for carnivores or meat eaters is an exceptional experience. In that dining venue, it's all about the Italian steaks, and everything that I ate there was so good. Makoto Ocean was another meal that was delicious. I myself am not a huge seafood eater or a fish eater, but I even eat the sushi at Makoto Ocean because it is so incredibly fresh and delicious. And lastly, I have to mention a crowd favorite, and that is Alfredo's. If you know, you know. Alfredo's Pizzeria is some of the best pizza at sea, and I was so happy that I got to eat there while on board the Star Princess because it truly does live up to the hype. One additional venue that we saw on the Sun that is still on the Star that I have to talk about is Spellbound by Magic Castle. Now, they made it on Star a little bit different. Now it's $45, does not include dinner, and when inside, only comes with a couple of specialty cocktails, which, in my opinion, is more than enough. They changed the storyline of the story at Magic Castle here on the Star Princess to something a lot of fun, and this is an experience I highly recommend if you are going on board. Don't forget to reserve it early because it does sell out, and also do not forget to follow the dress code. Men have to wear a jacket in the Magic Castle. That is the Magic Castle's rules. And in my opinion, if you're going on board the Star Princess, this is something not to miss. A service that's available on Princess cruise ships is called Ocean Now. And this is basically like getting room service or putting an order in for something anywhere on the ship. If you're sitting by the pool and you want to order a coffee or a sandwich, or if you're in your room and you'd like room service, you can use Ocean Now. And with Princess Premier, once again, this is included. Well, I wanted to try Ocean Now a couple of times. So I actually used Ocean Now to deliver coffee to my room in the morning, and I did try room service one time during my stay on board. Every time I used Ocean Now, I was so impressed. It was so incredibly fast and efficient. This is by far the fastest service I have ever seen on a cruise ship. And I have to applaud the crew on board the Star Princess because I think Ocean Now is finally working the way that they intended it to, and I think the service is wonderful. Let's move into the drinks. Now, if you know anything about the Sphere class, there was over 200 craft cocktails that were created just for this cruise class. This was one of our favorite things when we sailed on board Sun Princess last year, and the drinks still live up to the hype. Princess is still innovating and still creating new drinks and new drink menus, which I think is phenomenal. And it gives Princess a leg up over every other cruise line in the industry because there are drinks for everyone. They're also ramping up their zero proof cocktails, meaning they're cocktails without any alcohol if you are not a big drinker. I got to try a number of different cocktails on board the ship. And with the exception of one sake that I tried, I liked everything that I drink. When you go on the Star Princess, there's a lot of different entertainment on board. But there's one form of entertainment that I have to highlight because I think that it was just so well done. And this was the live music around the ship. Princess has some of the best talent at sea, and if you've sailed on a Princess ship, you probably already know this. Throughout my voyage, I found myself multiple times without planning, just sitting down and listening to a piano player or a singer or a violinist because the talent that they have on board is just next level. Something new that Princess is offering is candlelight concerts. Now, this is becoming a very popular thing all around the world, but it pretty much is a type of concert with a very chill mood where there's hundreds of candles lit all around you and you sit and listen to beautiful live music. They now are offering this in the Dome, and I can say this is one of the prettiest concerts that I've seen while at sea, and I just loved the live music on the Star Princess so much. Speaking of the Dome, I finally got to see what a nightclub in the Dome looks like. This was something that they promised for a long time on the Sun Princess. We went on the Sun Princess twice and never experienced a nighttime party in that area. But on the Star, they did turn that area into a nightclub, and I actually really liked that venue for a nightclub. They had a DJ in there, a nice dance floor, and it was pretty well attended the night that I went. I think this space actually works great as a nightclub. It's kind of a nightclub under the stars, but in an air-conditioned space. Princess is amping up their nightlife all around the ship. There's, of course, parties that happen in the piazza, but then they have a new deck party called Euphoria with a DJ out by the pool. Now, personally, I really enjoyed this deck party, but I am curious to know how the typical Princess clientele will like it. The music was incredibly loud. The DJ was playing a lot of hit songs from right now, so a lot of music that Gen Z is listening to and some millennials are listening to. So the nighttime party was very much for the younger crowd on board. I know that Princess is making it a point that these ships are going to be for multi-generational families, and I love that they are offering this. If you've been on the Star Princess lately, I want you to let me know in the comments if you went to this deck party and what you thought, because I am interested to know those that are in their 50s, 60s, and 70s, if this is a nighttime party that you also enjoyed, or if you found this a little bit aggravating because you could hear the music throughout several decks on board. One last thing that worked exceptionally well for me while I was at sea was the Wi-Fi. I thought the Wi-Fi was incredible. It was fast. I was able to work without any issues, and I had no interruptions during my time on board. So this is a ship that I would feel confident working from sea at if I was going to take a half vacation where I was going to be working but also be on the ship. That was the good, and in a minute I'm going to get to the bad and, of course, that ugly. But there was something in the middle here that I wanted to mention that I'm not going to put in either category. And that was their brand new shows in the arena. They have two new production shows that they have debuted on board the Star Princess, Illuminate and Meridian. Now, I did not put these in the good section because personally, I did not enjoy these shows as much as I hoped I would. That being said, a lot of people around me enjoyed these shows, and I want to say this about the entertainment on Princess. They are doing the right things. They are innovating and they are making shows that have a lot of elements. They're incorporating things like acrobats into the shows. And Illuminate was a circus style show with all different types of acts. I don't think that the Princess Entertainment team is there yet when it comes to their entertainment versus some of their other competitors in the cruise industry, but I do think the entertainment is headed in the right direction. So I want to be very positive about the entertainment here, and I want to say definitely go see the shows. And I do want to hear from you in the comments if you liked these shows or if they let you down a little bit. Now let's talk about the bad. And as always, the bad are things that you need to know if you're coming on board this ship. I'm going to go back to the stateroom for a minute, and I loved everything in the stateroom. But there was one thing that was a little annoying, and that was the motion light in the bathroom. Now, if you're someone that likes to sleep in complete darkness, you're going to have the lights off in the bathroom. And it's great that there is a motion light. When you get up and you open up the bathroom door, a motion light comes on so you can see the bathroom. But after about 10 seconds, that motion light shuts back off and you cannot get it to turn back on without opening up the door again. So the motion light is not something that you can count on to stay on when you're in the bathroom. This was a lesson that I learned the hard way when I thought, oh, this will stay on for a while. The motion light does go off until the door opens up again, so you always need to turn the light on so you're not in the pitch black while in the bathroom in the middle of the night. Moving out of the stateroom and into the rest of the ship, I really do love this ship. There's just two venues I want to quickly touch on. The first is the arena. The arena is their theater space where their main production shows happen. Now, I had some problems with this space on the Sun, and they have not changed anything in the arena on the Star. For starters, this space is just too small. There is not enough seats to accommodate everyone on the ship to see all shows, and that is frustrating to so many people. If you're going on the Star and you're going to go to the main production shows, you need to get there an hour in advance when the doors open to ensure that you get a seat. If you walk in 10 or 15 minutes before the start of the show, you are not going to see that show at that showtime because there will just be no seats left. I also still think that these seats are too small, they're a little bit uncomfortable, and the seats still don't have drink holders, which is something that you find on all cruise ships pretty much everywhere. I know that Princess has been trying to innovate their theater space, but the arena just does not work. This is one of my least favorite venues on any cruise ship, and I hope when they start to build their new ships in the future, they make some changes and look at some other people, what they're doing in the industry with their theater spaces, because this theater space is a pain point for many cruisers that come on board. Another venue that is just still too small is O'Malley's. O'Malley's is the Irish pub on board, and surprisingly, they actually made O'Malley's bigger on this ship. They took out the gelato place next door that's on the Sun, and they expanded it to probably hold another 15 to 20 people, but it's still too small. Here is my suggestion for Princess, if Princess is listening. I think Princess needs an O'Malley's North and an O'Malley's South on either end of the cruise ship because this venue is so popular. People go wild for this venue. The performers in this venue are incredibly talented, and I understand the hype. The venue is amazing. It is by far the best Irish pub at sea. So, just to help more people enjoy it and get to experience it, I personally think there needs to be two O'Malleys on the next Sphere class ship. In general, the service across the ship was great, but there was one area of service that is currently lacking, and that is the drink service. Now, the drinks are amazing, but it was very difficult to get a drink. I think there may have been too many people with drink packages on board, but on average, I would wait between 15 and 20 minutes to get a drink. And towards the end of the voyage, the crew knew and understood how long this was taking, so they would actually give you a heads up. If you ordered from someone after waiting for quite a while, they would tell you, hey, it's going to be a while before I can bring your drink over. I completely understand when the crew is swamped, but I do think this is an area where Princess could possibly increase their crew to make drink service a little bit more speedy. Because when you are paying for a drink package, you do expect to be able to get drinks pretty easily. I'm not even someone that is a huge drinker myself, but when you want that cocktail or you want that glass of wine before dinner or maybe before bed, you don't typically anticipate waiting 20, 25, even sometimes 30 minutes to get that, especially when you want to move on to the next thing while on board your cruise. I was on a shorter sailing, so hopefully that has something to do with it. Maybe more people in general had drink packages. Maybe for your sailing on Star Princess, it will get better, and I certainly hope that is the case. Similarly, with a lot of people that have drink packages, on my sailing, a lot of people had Princess Premier and unlimited specialty dining. So it was a little difficult for Princess to accommodate all of those reservations. I hope with the change to Princess Premier and allowing people to have unlimited specialty dining, they don't run into this issue over and over again. Once again, I was on a short sailing, so that could very much be why we encountered that and why that was the case. But it was very difficult to get a reservation in a specialty dining place or change a reservation if you decided you didn't want to eat at a particular venue. That was the bad. There really was not that much bad. I had a great cruise on board the Star Princess, but there's one thing on board these ships that is the ugly, and I hate that this is the ugly because it's also one of the most beautiful things on board the ship. And this ugly frustrated people so much, and that is the dome as an entertainment venue. The Dome's original intent was supposed to be a day club with a pool, a nightclub with a pool, and an entertainment venue with acrobats. Well, on the Star, they have cut the acrobats out completely, and now they're just doing these candlelight concerts in that venue. The problem is there is not enough seats to accommodate people. You only have a couple hundred seats in that venue. And when you have more than 3,000 people on board, it doesn't matter how many times you do a concert in a night, not everyone's going to get to see what's going on in there. Now, as the candlelight concert went on throughout the night, there was people that were getting up and leaving halfway through, and then those seats would get filled immediately. But something that was frustrating for me was I did go about an hour early to see the candlelight concert, and 10 minutes before the performance, sure enough, there was people walking in, getting very frustrated they couldn't find a seat. And then while the concert was starting, there was people that kept crossing in front of me and standing in front of me because they were just looking around for a seat. There's not enough seats to accommodate people on the ship in this space as a performance venue. And as much as I loved the candlelight concert, I think this space just should not be a performance venue at all. They should keep it to a day club and a nightclub with a pool. And I personally don't think it is appropriate to have performances in there or big performances that you're advertising to people to come and check out. You can avoid this by going early. I went an hour early to go see the candlelight concert. I got a seat right in the front row. I had no issues sitting there, having a drink, hanging out for a little bit. But that is something you must do if you want a seat in the dome for any entertainment that might be happening in there. Well, that was it. That was my good, bad, and ugly. And ultimately, I have to answer the question, would I go back on Star Princess again? And the answer is, of course, yes. I think the Star Princess has so many incredible things it has to offer. And I think the Star Princess has some unique things that other cruise lines aren't doing. If you're a foodie or someone that loves craft cocktails, you will love your time on board Star Princess. If you're someone that appreciates having a lot of ocean views or beautiful mountain views in Alaska, again, you will be someone that will enjoy your time greatly on board. I think Star Princess is an exciting new cruise ship, and I can't wait to get back on board sometime in the future. If you're interested in booking your next cruise on Star Princess, please reach out to us. Jared and I are both travel agents. You can reach out to us directly at jjcruise.com, and one of the two of us will reach back out. Well, thank you so much for watching. Now it's time to hear from you. What do you think in the comments below? Is this a ship you want to sail on? Are you interested in the Star Princess? Let me know what you think in the comments below. My name is Jordan. This was JJ Cruise, and until next time, see ya.